Are live and dangerous, Bob.
We are here and ready to roll for another Wednesday.
We are. So it's getting a little chilly here. I put my jacket on
I
today, and
see that you're looking very lumberjack today.
well, I am. I am a lumberjack, and I'm okay.
I work all night and I sleep
Yes.
all day. We'll just stop the lyrics at that point.
Yeah, we'll stop it. I don't think the rest of the song is very good,
Probably not.
but I'm feeling a little lumberjack-ish. I sat outside and did a lot of work this morning, and it's in the low 40s here. It's probably
Oh
colder than that there, I think,
no,
probably.
actually,
But
this morning was 47.
wow, well, it's 54 now, so
There you go.
yeah. So, but it's crisp. It's fall weather, and
Yep.
it feels really good.
When we get when in Wisconsin, when we get back into the 70s again, when you're in the heart of fall, you actually get
Yeah.
sick of the heat. Like we're ready for the fall temps. We're never ready
Oh,
for the winter temps, but
no, 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 because you have winter temps.
we did last
Yeah.
last last year in January specifically, we had 2 weeks where the high was -20.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, it was a little nippy.
A little nippy.
That's when you throw on the hooded sweatshirt.
Yeah. Or your lumberjack jacket.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Did you
So
know that there's an
Jeremy
actual
is here.
term like there's metrosexual and stuff like that? There's actually one called lumbersexual.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it's men who have the look and try to look lumberjack chic. It's weird.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
But Austin
Wow.
here from Murfreesboro says, and yes, Pastor Bob, it's chilly, but it's a good chill, way better than
Yes.
that upper 90s
Yeah,
stuff.
it
So
totally is. I look forward to the fall starting in about June.
yeah, right.
I don't like the heat.
No,
Not so
no.
much. Not
Do you
so
remember
much.
that time you were up here at Wisconsin? You were speaking at my church, and they had winter storm warnings and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Blizzarding, but the show went on.
It
People
went on.
came.
Yep. Every
Yeah.
church in town canceled its service except ours because, well, I mean, when you have the right Reverend Pastor Bob in
Yes.
the house. So,
Well, two Right Reverend Pastor Bobs in the
yes.
house. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Dana
I'm
says
happy
hi
for
from
this.
Spokane, Washington,
Great. Hey,
and
Dana.
just down the road from him in Chattanooga.
Yes.
And
Chilly at
Jeremy
48. Yeah.
Jeremy Lykin says, love both Pastor Bobs, and we love you.
Thank you. We do. Absolutely. Well, we have a lot of people, great people on the show today, too,
We
coming
do.
up, Bob.
Yep.
We've got Mouse from Grave Decay in Holland joining us. We have a couple guys from Precious Death. There's a great band, and you thought you've already heard everything from Precious Death new album. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Absolutely.
Chris and Jerry will be joining us in a little bit and talking about that. We have my friend Stacy Woodson here today as well. He does the TV show called Rising Angels, and great guy. He's got a million stories, and then we've got Jonathan here with us. We've got, it's going to be a good day.
It is going to be a good day.
Sean's with us from Rottweiler Records. Going to let us know some of the new releases.
Yep.
And there's some good stuff coming out on Rottweiler. He'll be here in a few minutes. So.
Yeah. And you had a little bit of nature going on in your yard today.
Well, I do. It's the weirdest thing. Most animals mate in the spring.
Okay.
But the heron and white heron are called egrets. Are mating now, and it's the coolest thing. Every year we watch this happen, and every year there's a whole lot of them that come into this part, and they go up in the trees and build, and then they're on the water. And I recorded just a little bit of a video just to show you. Do you have that, Bob?
I do. Check that out.
Yeah. Beautiful birds.
Yeah.
And
well, that's quite a few more than normal.
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot more now even, but but this is the time that they mate, and it's just really fun to watch the
That's pretty cool.
the the white egrets and the blue heron. Yeah. So, there's nothing better than watching God's nature, and I love sitting out and doing that. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yep. And you
Yes.
got a lot of it there. Remember when I visited you back a few months ago, and we were watching all the baby ducks, and that hawk flew in. Boy,
Yes.
that's some crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. Yes. Well, we're happy to have a great show today. It's interesting, Bob. We have some warnings out now about our supply chain. In
Yes.
fact, one of the largest grocery chain owners actually um, gave a warning a couple of days ago that
Really.
prices are about to go up. He said tremendously.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, this is a really good time to stock up on food before it gets too bad.
I think so. And I'm good friends with one of the auto dealerships here in town,
Yeah.
specifically one of their salesmen as well. And he's a retired NFL player for the Buccaneers and the Bears. And he posted that if anybody's wanting to buy a new car, get your name in now because there's a 2-year waiting list.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty wild stuff going on in our world today. And I think I'll just a moment of honesty here. Sometimes you watch the people selling the freeze dried food and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, whatever. But that's not a bad route to go right now.
It's not, and just simply stocking up with things that will last you, dry goods and stuff that you can cook and whatever.
Yeah.
It's really not a bad idea. We took a hit this week ourselves.
Oh.
Our coffee prices, all of a sudden, they're raised. The shipping went double to try to get it all. And we work with the greatest company, a good friend of Sanctuary, actually, that owns the company. And we wouldn't even break even if we held the prices the way they were.
Well,
So,
I mean, in all honesty, though, can you really put a price on that?
Well, that's right.
I mean, really.
Because, of course, it is Headbangers Brew.
Right. No, but it is something. There is interesting times we live in.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of sad. And speaking of interesting times that we live in, Bob, do you know what the number one hip hop song is right now?
What's that?
I know you're a hip hop lover.
Well,
so
I bow to you for even bringing it up, because when people think hip hop, I mean, you're the Christian Rick Rubin. I mean, let's face it. You got the look and everything.
Well, there you go. So there's a song out called "Let's Go Brandon," and it's number one in hip hop music right now.
There you go. Gary Ayrton just said, "Let's go Brandon."
Yeah. And of course, people were actually yelling something else.
Right.
And I think it was a CBS reporter said, and she was interviewing a guy named Brandon and said, listen, they're cheering for you. They're saying, let's go, Brent, which was not what they were saying. But then a hip hop artist, did a song with it. And it's number one on the hip hop charts.
Wow.
There you go.
That's interesting.
It is.
So,
yes.
Well, anyways, so yeah, as you said, we have Sean Browning. Of course, we know Sean from our interview with him, and everybody knows him from Grave Robber. And so we do a segment on what's the latest and greatest in Christian rock and metal, and in that genre. And Sean also owns Rottweiler Records. And Pastor Rob, you've worked with Rottweiler Records before. Yes. They've been at the Sanctuary tent and stuff. So
yeah, Sean's a great friend.
Yeah, good should guy. We bring him on?
Let's do.
Okay. And there he is.
Hey there.
There he is. Good to see you, Sean.
So I think I figured this out. You guys did the interview so you can rope me into doing this report. I'm on to you both.
Quick, disconnect the feed. He found us out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, no,
So
in all seriousness, I'm honored that you would ask me to do it, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we like you. You know,
well, I like you guys.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, it looks a little crispy there where you're at too.
It's 55 degrees. There's a kind of a little brisk breeze happening, but it's not bad. But you know what? The good thing is I have this mug right here. You see that?
Oh yeah. There you go.
And that's
Intense Radio.
Filled to the top with some nice hot coffee. So I'm good.
Well, you know, and it's a coffee day, Sean.
Yeah.
At 55, you know, what else are you going to do but drink coffee? Exactly.
Right.
Well, I think that's a good at 55. That could be temperature or age. What else are you going to do besides drink coffee?
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest.
Well.
So Sean, you've have Rottweiler Records, and you know, it always seemed like when I was working in the Christian music industry, selling records and everything, Tuesday was like the new release day for new albums. It seemed. Does that still hold true in the industry, or is it just whenever?
It's Friday now. They switched it about 8 or 9 years ago. It switched from Tuesday. Yeah, but you're right. Tuesday was always the day. Now it's Friday, and I stay up till, well, who am I kidding? I'm up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, every morning. But
you've got the kids.
Well, I played rock and roll my whole life, and it's just those are the hours, and so I still do that. So I usually stay up till midnight and make sure that at least all the new releases on Rottweiler are firing off like they're supposed to, and things are showing up on Spotify, and all the YouTube stuff's happening, and so I was, whenever I have a release, I just make sure that I'm up to make sure that it happens, and grab the smart links and put that all together and get that all out, so that when the bands wake up at the crack of noon or whenever they wake up, that all that stuff's ready for them when they get up too. So.
Well, good.
So, Sean, you've got some great bands on your roster. Name a few of them.
Wow. There's right now there's active bands. There's probably 15 right now, but we've been really, really fortunate to have some like incredible bands over the years, like Immortal Souls. Pantocrator was on the label for a while. Abated Massive Flesh was on the label for a while. Right now we've got
they're Nashville guys.
Yeah.
We've
got Frost Like Ashes is now back active again, and they're on the label. I just signed Krieg from Brazil, and and so it's gone beyond what I expected. Really the whole thing started because we were heading off on tour, and our album. We were on a label that kind of dropped the ball on us, and so we ended up going out on tour. That's Grave Robber, that is, and we didn't have any product, and I was kind of bummed out. I'm like, what am I doing out here? We don't have a CD with us, and it was like one of those moments where God just speaks to you and says, "I put everything around you, everything, to do this yourself." And I'm like, I don't want to start a label. That's too much work, and it is too much work. But
it is too much work.
Yeah, but all the elements were there, and I had great people that I was friends with. Jason from Face Down gave me a lot of advice when I first started. I think his first piece of advice was don't do it, but beyond that, he had some really great. And I still call him every now and then. When I kind of get stuck and don't know what I'm doing, which sometimes can be too often, but so I just had everything around me, and it just worked out, and here we are. This is we're wrapping up year 11, so
wow, that's awesome.
Next year will be 12 years. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, Yeah. And the fact that we're still around, and I think part of it is understanding the market and understanding that nobody's adding a new wing onto their house by having a Christian metal label.
No.
That's not happening. What is happening is people are still discovering Christian metal. People are still discovering that. I think one of the biggest misnomers in our culture, in American culture, is that if you say yes to Jesus, yes to the call in your life, that you're not going to have any more fun. And that's just simply not true. And what are you going to listen to? You can't listen to metal anymore. Well, yeah, you can listen to metal. In fact, there's this whole other side of metal that you probably didn't listen to.
There's so much.
Yeah.
So what's
more than ever?
So what's like, if you were to throw top 5 albums out right now that you're going to recommend to the crowd to jump over to Rottweiler Records to check out, what would be your suggestions right now?
I actually made some notes right here. So, the top things that I think are kind of on my brain right now. Some of them are Rottweiler, some of them aren't. Number 1, Impending Doom just put a new single out. Holy cow!
Great band.
Probably one of the best, most exciting singles out was that Impending Doom. It's called Satanic Panic. It's on all the download portals. You can find it everywhere. If you're into Christian metal at all, I mean, you have no problem finding that. Fantastic song. I just heard that Biogenesis is getting ready to do a new album called Rise of the Phoenix. And Chaz has been a good friend of mine for a long, long time. And everything that guy does is golden. Anything he's involved in, fantastic. Tiago, guitarist Tiago James Souza, has a new band called Hearing Voices. I'm really excited about everything he's done. Everything from Hand of Fire to Perpetual Paranoia with Dale Thompson. And he's just done so many different releases. He's kind of a hired gun, but he's got his own band called Hearing Voices that's coming out, so I'm excited about that. I've got 3 Rottweiler things I want to tell you about real quick. One of the most exciting things that has happened within the Rottweiler family is that I don't know if you're familiar with Final Surrender from India, but they got their original guitar player back, Sanjay Kumar, who's like he's like a cross between he's like an Eddie Van Halen type guitar player, but playing metalcore. And Final Surrender, like they sound like an American metalcore band, but with kind of Indian elements thrown in there.
Yes.
And they just sent me their new EP that's going to be coming out December 10th, and it's by far the best thing that they've ever done. So I'm super excited about the Final Surrender release.
And they're great guys, by the way, from Mumbai.
Yeah,
great
guys. I was just talking to a friend last night. Jared is such a great drummer.
Ministry there.
Yeah. And Jared is such a great drummer that you question whether those drums are programmed or not. It's not. He would never do that, but he's that good and that precise. He's amazing.
That's awesome.
Legendary Brazilian death metal band Krieg. I just signed them, and we just the video just came out last week. In 4 days. Good. 4 days, it had almost 1,500 plays in 4 days, which for us is really good.
Wow, that is a big deal.
Yeah. So the single Self Control comes out. What day is this? This is Wednesday. In 2 days, on Friday. The single comes out on Friday. We're super excited about that. Their full length Anthropos, that's going to come out in February. And once again, the best stuff, in my opinion, that Krieg has ever done. A lot of it's just the technology's better, and people have access to, so you have access to doing things in your bedroom, recording guitars and making sure they're really, really good, where you don't have to watch the clock in the studio and go, okay, that's good enough. We're out of the budget's, we're out of money and let's just go, so that's part of why it's better. Part of it is these bands are really experienced. The last one I have for you is Frost Like Ashes, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Love them. Yes.
Yeah. Met them on the Sanctuary stage at Cornerstone. And Mike Larson is one of my best friends in the world now. We met there. We were releasing they're on Rottweiler now, and they just released just recently in August 13th, released an EP called Fellowship of Suffering. Once again, I think it's the best stuff they've ever done. I may be biased because it's on Rottweiler, but I really do think it's the best thing they've ever done, the best sounding thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
And Mike and I are working on a thing called the Compendium, where all the old recordings from the early 2000s, late 90s to when they stopped, because they stopped in what was it, 2000, I can't remember now, 2008, I think it was. And
yeah, it's been a while.
So they just reformed, but all of that early music, we're going to put it onto one CD called the Compendium, and that's going to come out. Well, we don't really have a date, but we're working on that now and trying to figure out how to make all those songs fit on 2 discs. But so that's coming out. So we're really excited about that.
That's awesome.
And of course, you got to ask, with the holidays coming up, will there be another Flea's Naughty Dog?
Oh yeah. We just started working on that.
Nice.
So far, I know Leper is going to be on it. They're always on it. Scott Shaw is one of my best friends. So they're going to be on it. Jason Wisdom has a new band called Wisdom, and it's called Wisdom and something. I'm sorry. I feel bad I don't remember the name. But it's an instrumental track. So he just gave me that the other day.
That'll be great.
Possibly a new Grave Robber track. I'm not sure. Hopefully.
Very good.
Yeah, so we're just kind of getting the word out about that. That's unfortunately a thing where I start talking to people about it in August and telling people there's a deadline of November 13th, and then we're still getting tracks into December. And it happens really late every year, but try to get it out to radio as fast as we can. But yeah, the Flea's Naughty Dog is definitely going to happen for sure.
Good deal.
Awesome.
To me, that's just a fun thing to do. It's a lot of extra work, but when it's done, they're like, here it is, this Christmas thing that celebrates. And some of the songs are silly, some of the songs are goofy or whatever, but some of them are more reverent. But the whole thing together for me is just something that that I look forward to every year, and hopefully other people do too.
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot, back in the day. There wasn't a whole lot. There was always Sandy Patty Christmas or whatever, but there was nothing from the metal movement coming out for Christmas. It was very hit and miss. And I remember, and I'm sure, Sean, you remember this album. You had to dig very hard to find it. It was called Excelsius, A Dark Noel.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And you remember Eric Clayton and Eva O did Oh Holy Night?
Yes.
And
that was awesome.
That was really cool find. But it's exciting what you're doing with this, because it's almost become an annual tradition of having some good Christmas music metal wise.
And I think over the years, I think we've only missed 1 year, and that was early on, because I didn't really plan on doing it every single year. But then the year that I didn't do it, that's pretty much all I heard about was like, why isn't there another Flea's Naughty Dog? So that was, but Sean, it's definitely fun. So
great job, dude. And I'm always excited to see what you're up to.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
You've got some great stuff coming out, and we'd love to have you on the show from time to time to kind of keep us updated. And we want to have some of the bands on also that you're working with, and we'll get together with you for that.
Sure.
But it's just great to see you, my old friend.
Yeah. Same here.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Thanks for being on today. Blessings to you.
Thanks for having me. Great.
Thanks.
Blessings.
Bye-bye. So he was talking about good guitar players. I was just reading the people that are saying hello, and Rickard went through. Rickard is
right
the
here.
drummer actually for there he is. He said we're looking good. Rickard is the drummer for Pontecrator, a band from Sweden that is amazing, and Rickard is an amazing drummer.
Yeah,
shout out to Rickard. Yeah,
he looks like
he's
Thor.
Been a good friend for a whole lot of years.
Just his picture, he kind of looks like Thor a bit,
Well, I guess he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's
maybe
cool
their next album could be called Love and Thunder.
Yes. Well, and they are the coffee guys.
Okay.
They are the guys in the band. They're coffee aficionados.
And
if there's any trivia, anything you want to know about coffee, they're the guys. So, we have a lot in common.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yes. Well, speaking of friends from Europe, um, Mouse has been a good friend for a long time. The last time I saw him actually was in Holland, and
Oh,
he's in another band. He's changed bands since that day, but he's in another band called Grave Decay.
all
And
right.
let's bring him on.
And there he is.
And there he is.
Good morning, Bob and Bob.
Good morning.
It's good morning to you, right? It's the afternoon here in the Netherlands, but
yes, it is. That's
9:30
right.
here in the morning.
So is it Bob?
Mouse, it's good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see
As
you.
As always, yes. And I didn't bring it, but Mouse just sent me a mug that has pictures of he and his wife. I married he and his wife a year ago. They just celebrated their first anniversary, and they sent me a mug with pictures of them on it that is awesome. I showed it on my podcast the other day. But anyway, it's great to see you. Now, Mouse, you've been in quite a few bands over the years.
Yeah, several bands. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And your style is called symphonic death metal. That's what you've named it. Talk a little bit about this present band that you're in, and exactly what you're doing with it.
Well, that's a good question. I'm a big fan of film score music, but more the bombastic kind of film score that is around. And in the Netherlands, there are a few bands that combine that style with metal music. One of them is Epica, and my fellow bandmate Roger, who was a former guitarist for doom metal band Morphia, he's also into this kind of music. And there is a kind of a spin-off band of Epica in the Netherlands called Mayen, and they put the whole kind of music to another level. They put really heavy death metal and combined it with film score kind of music.
Wow!
And we were like, that's what we like to do. But actually, I already liked that from years ago when I was little. But at that time, there was no way to create it, or you had to hire an entire orchestra, which of course is not easy to do. But
yes.
With software, you can create anything you like. So Roger and me, we decided to quit all projects we had running and focus us just on this band. We called Grave Decay, and we made our own tunes. We bought orchestras, choirs, and all these kind of samples. And some of the tunes they are built of over 45 tracks. So it's a lot of work, and we are just guitar players and creating the whole band thing. So all the orchestras and strings are created by guitarists, to say so.
Wow.
And it was a huge challenge for us, but we're happy with the result. And I think, of course, there are more symphonic bands, but really the bombastic approach, there aren't that lot of bands that are doing that, and we try to fill in that gap, to say so. So that's what we did, and
awesome.
And it ended with the album From Dust to Dust, released in 2018, and we wanted to put all our focus on that in promotion, but that didn't work out because of personal circumstances, to say so.
Yes.
So that's why we couldn't get it just as much as attention as we would like to have.
Yes, but there is the future.
Yes, there is. We are still working on tunes, and at this moment, Roger is ill. He's seriously ill, and he needs prayer. He really needs prayer, and for that reason, we are also at this moment, a little bit low level with the band, but we are still working on it, and we have some tunes which are, I would say 80-90% but some tunes are just we just started with, but it's still a work in progress, and we are yeah, it will be another album full of symphonic, bombastic tunes combined with metal. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to hear that.
Yes. And do you have some examples on your website, Mouse?
Yeah, that's correct. That's of the album that has been released already. Yeah, there is a teaser, which has a small part of all the tunes that are on the disc, and we had a lyric video released as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so are you still using some of the voices? Do you have Daphne on the album?
No, she's not there. I talked to her. Actually, I'm living these days in the same town as she lives. And I speak to Johan and Daphne every now and then. But she's not active at this moment in music. No, she's not. But she's a good singer, you know.
That's it. She is. I've stayed in their house. And she she's amazing. She's got the she's got the Nightwish voice.
Oh yeah,
don't you think?
Familiar with that? Yep.
Oh my gosh, she is so good.
She sings opera. Yeah,
wow. Yeah, she sings opera. That's her thing. But she loves heavy metal.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yes, I would. I would like her voice, but yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you need to make progress on songs, and because you have to finish it at some point.
Yes.
And especially in our case, we released it independently, so we have no label.
Good.
We did all the work ourselves. Actually, you are sitting in you're seeing my studio right now, so that's the Gravity K studio, to say so.
That's awesome.
And we recorded ourselves. So yeah. It takes some time and effort.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. So, I'll admit I'm not very familiar with the work, but I'm going to be checking it out. And with your okay, I do a show here called Rock Church Radio, and they'll throw a song or two on.
Perfect for the station. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice. I would be honored. Yes, if you like strings, horns, and the big thing, yeah, you might like it. Yes.
Love that.
That's sure, yeah.
So the last time I saw you in Holland, what was the band that you were playing in then? I'm trying to remember and I can't.
Yeah, well, that was a gothic kind of band. I stepped in as a guitar player, and their name was Veritas.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
that's correct. Yes, that was for 2 shows. I filled in a gap for the guitar player. That's something, by the way, I do every now and then. I also stepped in as replacement guitarist for Slechtvalk. That was the last show I did in 2019. So yeah, I like metal music in general. So it doesn't matter if it's metal, melodic metal, or it's just okay. We're going into a direction which really is my preference to say.
From your heart. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
And Schlechtvolk, Daphne sang with them for a while, didn't she?
That's correct. Yes, in the early years, she was a part of the band as well. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Bob, have you heard Schlechtvolk?
I have not.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of
heavy band.
I'm thinking, like just the everyday music listener, that may not know these things. This is why this segment's so important, because you guys are throwing names out that really is helpful for us in the States here to start doing Google searches and looking, and maybe even we have the link up right here, and so this is fantastic.
Well, and folks, go to this link and listen to the teaser and listen to some of the music, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Mouse. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the US, metalcore is bigger. There are more bands that play metalcore than in Europe, whereas in Europe, it's more like folk, black, and symphonic metal. I'm not sure about that, or it's the other way around, but I think this is the case. And
yes, I think it is here too, to be honest. I think things are going in that direction. Yes.
Right. So
yeah,
I can
that is
imagine.
awesome.
Yeah. So I can imagine that there are a lot of metalcore bands that are really popular over here in the Netherlands, where symphonic bands could be popular in the US. That would make sense to me if I'm right.
Oh, it totally makes sense to me too, and I think we need to promote that, and we are right now.
Yep.
Yes,
go listen to Grave Decay.
I'm grateful for
Miles,
that.
thank you so much for being on with us today.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you for being a great friend for all these years, and we're excited to see what you come up with in the future. We'd love to have you back again and give us an update at some point.
I would love to.
And
thank
we'll
you.
do that.
I feel humbled and thank you for having me. I also would like to say hello to you from my wife, Lena. She said,
yes, Lena.
Say hello to Bob.
Great. Well, please greet Lena. I was just going to say, please give Lena my love. And she's awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. Great to see you today.
Thank you. It was great talking to you. Nice to meet you too, Bob. Thank you.
All right. There you go.
God bless you.
Bye-bye. That's awesome. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, very good guy. I wanted to ask him what happened to his hair from the picture we used,
Yeah, he just decided it just kept creeping back, and it was time. Yeah.
I understand. Yes.
Yeah. It happens, huh?
Yeah. You're one of the ones that are still hanging on there.
Well, by a thread.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we first started bringing you up to Wapaka, and you were unashamedly saying that you used that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was L'Oreal No. 6.
Yes, that's right. For
to color your hair black. So
yeah, I did, or dark brown. And then I went black. And then I thought, who am I kidding?
Right.
I'm old. So on my 60th birthday, which was 9 years ago, I decided to let it go gray. And of course, I used to dye my beard and everything.
And you didn't go back.
I didn't go back. Yeah. Yeah. Once you go black, sometimes you go back. Yeah. There you go. That's our new saying.
There you go.
Yes.
I see a t-shirt.
Totally.
So we're supposed to have on another segment here, but he's not in the studio yet in our virtual green room. So
yeah. And we've got a few minutes until he's supposed to be on, but we can.
So, yeah, when we, we can just hang out here and see when he comes on. But, Charles here says, hello from the Brazilian Amazon, a pleasant 88 degrees here at 10:30 and rising. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
But,
I'm going to find our next guest here and see if I can't get a hold of him and say, come online.
Yeah, the email was sent. So for those that are struggling to find the music that Mouse was talking about, we should point out that if you go to We Are Metal, We Are Family there's a Intense Radio page where, past Rob, you have your Spotify lists.
Yes.
And there's a lot of bands there that get updated regularly regarding this, and they can check it out there. And Stacy just popped into the green room. So
great.
But yeah, if they go to wearemetalwearefamily.com, they can find all these bands that we're talking about and more.
Yes, and more, and a lot more. And Bob, and in that we've got 18 different genres of Christian metal.
Yes.
Who knew there were that many? But
right.
Yeah, so you can pick a genre and it needs to be updated, but there's some great bands there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
well, let's go to Stacy.
All right, let's welcome him into the feed here, and
yes,
there he is.
Hey, there he is. Hey, my friend.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good to see you.
Nice.
So Stacy and I have been friends for a whole lot of years, and
yes,
and we have coffee together every once in a while.
Yes, we do.
And
nice to meet you, the other Pastor Bob. Nice to meet you as well.
Well, it's nice to meet you as well. I'm up here in Wisconsin, and where are you located?
In Lebanon, Tennessee.
Oh, there you go. You guys are neighbors. So
yes,
he's just down the road a piece. Yeah,
a lot of good things. So it's nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you guys for having me.
Well, Stacy, you've done a gazillion things in your life. You've done music, you've done promotion. These days, you're doing a TV show that is really exciting and really good, and it's called Rising Angel.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. Yeah, it's a blessing to be able to
Yes.
go around the world right now helping others in a time when there's a lot of darkness in our communities, and
Yes.
to be a light for other people. It's a blessing.
Well, give us the premise of the show, because this is really great.
Okay, well, Rising Angel the movement is more so, I'll just say it's similar, not the same thing, to an extreme makeover, but we don't build homes, we build lives. We build communities. So we go all over the world, and our major, I guess our mission is no challenge is too big, no story is too small. And we help out everyone. We're not a company that is only on when the networks are on. We work when the networks are working and when they're off. So it's not just a TV show. It was a way of life. It's a way of living for Christ. It was something that God called me into, and He made sure the one thing He wanted was not to discriminate. And it's almost like it's really seeing how Satan has corrupted our world right now as being discriminatory against everything. They're discriminating against every single thing, whether you're black, white, straight, gay, Democrat, Republican, rich, poor. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Christ is all about unity. Now, Christ doesn't compromise, but He's all about love. And so I didn't understand back then of why He was putting me on this TV show, because I didn't know anything about television and film. I did one movie and that was it. But then I completely understood why, because of how He wanted it to be formatted, as far as bringing people together, loving on people at a time when Satan is disrupting our countries in a way. So it's been a blessing, man. I mean, it's been a true blessing. We've helped out people from the United States to Uganda to everywhere around the globe, and there hasn't been a family or an organization that has needed help from us that we had to turn away. So
that's awesome.
Yep. So 90% of what we do is not on camera. 10% of it is.
And you've been successful in rallying a lot of people together, and people, Christian community is great with this. We've learned this with the homeless ministry. When you present a need,
yes,
they're there, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of help with, and like I said, all the different backgrounds. Just one of the stories we had last Halloween, we shot. We were supposed to be working with WGN Network, and the camera went out in the middle of it. So the big networks always want 4K. One of the camera guys didn't tell me that the camera went out, so we had to end up putting it on the Christian network. So they loved it, but it was about bringing all these different groups together. And one of the groups that is really a support of mine is a group called Justified. They're a motorcycle Christian club outside of Brooksville in Gainesville, Tennessee. And I mean, they're like 4 or 5 clubs strong. And they come out to support. But then when I was calling the people from the LGBTQ community, I need you to come out as well. They came out, the church came out, Democrats, Republicans, the law enforcement. It was a big presence of law enforcement, the city officials. But all these people came out at one time to say, it's time for us to put our differences aside and try to work together, because we can go to our grocery store and we can have a conversation and love on someone there that we've been knowing for the last 10 or 12 years. We don't really know anything personally about their person a lot of times, but we can love on them. But as soon as we find out our friend has voted, for a Democratic president or a Republican president, we're ready to jump on that person. Or if we find out this person is straight or gay or not a Christian, or a Christian, we're ready to put on, ready to just throw them out to the side. And Christ is like, man, what are we doing? He made every last one of us. He makes no mistake. So if He made us, we are not a mistake. We may make mistakes, but we're not a mistake. And so it's just been a blessing to be able to bring
That's
people
awesome.
together and having people respond and say, wow, you've really opened my eyes up, because I was one of the people who were on Facebook gossiping about this particular group. And then you made me realize that I was at fault. So that's the whole thing, is just trying to bring love. It's not criticizing anyone. It's just trying to bring love in our community. Stevie Wonder said it best years ago, there's good and bad in everyone, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's true. Yes, absolutely. Well, the last show you did was the last show the Motorcycle Church?
That was the last show that was taped. Yeah.
Okay.
We've done like four since then, but that was the last one that was taped.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what happened. This is a great story.
Oh man, it was. I usually never tell even the crew or even my teammates. I never tell everybody what's going to happen. I love keeping it as an element of surprise.
That's awesome.
So to me, it's a /reality/ scripted television show. So when we brought all these people together, I had signs I had made for the last 4 days, staying up late, handcrafting every single sign. We must love, we can agree to disagree, and Republicans against violence and Democrats against, it was all different kind of things. It was everything that you would see in the media. It was a sign against what they were saying. So they were stereotyping, and I was putting up signs to show all these groups are not stereotyping. But to put the icing on the cake, I called Justified, and I told them, I said, I want you guys to be here. So they had a choice to be with me, or there was something that was going on, I think, with CMA, the Christian Motorcycle Association, that week. And these brothers and sisters came up to decide to support me, and a few went down there. But when they came up, I told them, I says, listen, man, when you come up, I want you to rev up your engines when you hear us talking. Rev it up, man, like you're about to start some trouble. But wear your Confederate patches. They're like, what? I said, wear your Confederate patches, man. I love starting a little controversy, man. So everybody's sitting there holding the signs up, man. And Chief Hamrick's finished talking. As he's talking, you hear this, and he's like, look, I said, Chief, I said, what is this? I said, okay, this is another noise we're getting rid of today. I said, I'm not taking this crap. So I made it look real. So it was funny. It was me and my brother, and it was another record executive that it was there. And I told him, I told him ahead of time what was happening. Well, I didn't realize until afterwards that he was really scared, because he thought this was something different.
Oh, yeah. He didn't know what was going on.
No, yeah. And I told him exactly what until he saw the gun. So the motorcycle club pulls up, and I called Jarrett and called my brother. I said, come on, let's go confront these guys. We go there to confront them, and their guys are getting off the motorcycle, flexing their arms and stuff, man, and being all mad. And then the head guy comes towards me, and it looked like we're getting into a confrontation until we hug each other. But when he had a gun on his side, my partner, Jarrett, he kind of starts stepping back thinking, uh-oh, what's going on? He thought it was like, oh, this must be real. I told him it was fake, but when people saw that, they start to cry, tears start to come out. And I said, this is another thing. Look at these guys' patches. I don't have to support the Confederate flag, but I know for myself, everyone who wears the flag or flies the flag or supports the flag is not prejudice. Just no different than every black man who walks into a store. One black man may rob a store. If a person come in look like me, somebody's going to assume he's going to do the same thing. Every law enforcement, we've been wronged by law enforcement before, but every law enforcement is not, against blacks, And so it's just time that we stop stereotyping whites, blacks, gays, straights, Christians, non-Christians, law enforcement, all these things, and start to judge the person, look at the person as what they're doing, look at their character, not what they're displaying, look at their character. And so when we had this, man, people loved it. It was just a moment of love, but a lot of people was very, very nervous, with those motorcycle guys coming up. And I loved it, man, because that's what I love doing. I love to start a little controversy every now and then, but it's all in a good way. It's never in a bad way. It's always in a teaching way to try to teach others how we should live today.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome. Cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And tell us just the premise of a couple more shows that you've done. I mean, these have really been great.
Oh man, one of the shows we had the first episode we taped, we released it on WeTV, the cable network, My TV 30, and the two Christian networks. It was Renew Network, which is a new company, and then it was VTN. So we released it on 4 networks, and that episode was helping out a lady in the community. It was a family that's been taken in a lot of homeless people, people off the streets, anyone, and taking them into their homes, take them into their house, loving on them, getting them started, getting them jobs, and then putting them up in an apartment. So we had this particular episode. People thought it was a cooking show. So I told them it was a cooking show. So I had different people that were on there. And one of my friends from the TV show Empire, Empire, he came in town. So we're in the middle of doing this cooking show, and one of my closest friends, Tom, from he had a company called Music City Seafood. They was rolling out their cart.
Tom Neville.
Yes. And there was other cooks around, and he was like, so he rolls out there fish and chips, and he's ready to leave real quick. I'm like, no, brother, come here. Tell us about.
And Tom's a big guy.
Yeah, big guy.
Yeah.
And he's part of Rising Angel. And he's like, and I said, tell us about what you do about feeding the homeless and different things. So he's telling, and he's nervous because I put him on the spot. And all of a sudden you hear this talking, real loud talking. And it's like, what is this? And Tom's looking around and his phone is going off. So his cell phone is going off. He's like, oh man, my cell phone. I say, listen, man, Tom, come here and try to take over my show. And so I didn't cut that out. I left that in there. But then as Tom finally left, everybody was still feeling comfortable thinking this was a cooking show, and the police came in. So 2 different counties came in to ask us about, there was a silver SUV out in the parking lot that had a package in it that was a suspicious product, and they were saying it was drugs. So I didn't tell my kids, because if I told my kids, they would have, oh, that's fake. Dad already told us about that. So you can't even tell your kids or anything. And so when they're like, I said, hey, listen, man, this is a live TV taping. The guy like, well, listen, this is a live police situation. There's a silver SUV out there that has a package in it. And one of the guys that was there, you seen him, he put his hands underneath his lap thinking like, oh no, is this my vehicle? He was scared himself. So they came in, and when my brother went outside, act like he was going outside to bring me the package, me and the police had gotten into a confrontation, and Charles is a great actor, like with Empire and everything that he's doing. He was like, Stacy, come on, man, this is my career. What are you doing? So him and another cop act like they was getting into it. They started to really slap some handcuffs on me, and my kids in the background, Daddy's going to jail. They're scared. So when my brother brought the package in, I said, wait a minute, this is actually a Christmas cooking show. Everybody applauded. So people started clapping. And I said, this package, they said, no, it's not. There's something in there. I said, this package belongs to that lady right there. It was a family we were helping out. So I told this lady, I said, come here for a second. She's like, don't get me involved. She was scared. Yeah. And so we gave her the package. I said, listen, read what's in the package. And she opened it up and she read it, said, oh, this is all staged. This is a day that we're here coming together to love on you and your family. And then all of a sudden, bam, tears breaks down again. So the whole thing is just about loving on people and just, going with any kind of need. I think the biggest fault I used to see in a lot of the television shows that were out call themselves helping people. Yeah. Number one, you couldn't call them after the network was over, because they didn't exist. It was only on for that season. So it's not a thing that happened 24 hours. But then if your story is not big enough, then they're not going to help you out. And it's great to build homes. It's great to give somebody a brand new $500,000 home. But if they're living in a community that's $100,000 homes and you give them a $500,000 home, you're still setting that family up for failure. If they cannot take care of the $100,000 home, how do you think they can take care of the $500,000 home?
Yeah, and that's absolutely right.
No one really is doing the homework. They're not really thinking about it. Us, we're all about, every mission, it's something new that God is sending us, because Christ is truly guiding my path and our path through this rising angel. And it's just great, man, being able to live for him every single day like this,
That is awesome. I've thought about that often in I forget the name of the show now, where they would reveal the home and it'd be this monstrosity of a home. The statistics of those homes, because we had one 45 minutes from us in a city called Appleton.
Okay.
And the home ultimately, it went back to, I don't know if it went back to the bank or whatever, because the family couldn't keep up with the property tax, the upkeep of this home and everything. And it's wow factor for TV, but I sometimes wonder if it's more devastating for the family to get this home than just renovate what they already have.
And it is, because a lot of times no one is doing their homework. No one is looking into, it's like, once you help out this family, you're done. The people that we've helped out on the show, we are still involved in their lives every single week. That's awesome. Some of the people like that, like the first family I was just telling you about that we helped out on the show, they actually will come over to our house for praise and worship night. We go to church together. They come over for cookout. So we're involved with these people's lives from the beginning to the end. And it's
isn't that really what it's all about? I mean, discipleship has to have an element of mentoring. And it certainly seems you guys provide all of that in this package.
Yeah, it really does. It's just, it's not a one-time thing. It's just, you really have to be involved with people's lives to make a difference. And I know Pastor Bobby, noticed this with the homeless community. My brother does a lot of stuff with the homeless community, and you can't just go to there and take something down there one time and thinking you're going to make an impact. You're just bringing something down there. And the people, because I worked before I did full-time entertainment, I did 28 years of mental health work, working in and out of the field of mental health. And the people know when you're genuine, and they know when you're fake, so you're not fooling them. People seem to think that mental illness or homelessness has a certain kind of look. It doesn't. It doesn't.
And Stacy, one of the things that I've learned over the years is that everybody's looking for family.
Yep.
A connection.
Yes.
And you're providing family, you're providing a connection with them as well, which is huge. And that's what people want. That's what they need.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we've learned about the homeless ministry. It isn't, we feed every single day in 2 locations, and we are family. It's not just about the food. The food is a way in. Yeah.
And if you look at the way that Christ and God has modeled for us to be like, we're supposed to be like him. He's not about religion. He's about a relationship.
Absolutely.
So everything goes back to we should be modeling ourselves after the Father.
Yes. Well, Stacy, I'm excited to see what you're up with. Every once in a while, Stacy calls me and says, I got an idea. And that's what I like about you. He's a creative guy, and this is a great show. Folks, go here, risingangels.org, O-R-G, Rising Angel, not angels, risingangel.org, and check him out. Stacy, thank you so much.
Man, thank you guys. Like I said, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, man, It's a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
And let's do coffee again soon.
Let's do that sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Let's do it.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, buddy. Bye-bye.
What a great guy.
He is. He's a great guy. Great friend.
We all have these people that we like to hang out with, and you and I and many others are the type we'll hang out with anybody, but and we genuinely have a good time. But you and I are also the type, if we have an opportunity to hang out with a dreamer, we're all in.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
All
That's a big deal,
that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. So many people are hurting, and I'm not downplaying that at all. It's just something to be said about when you get together with dreamers and what can we do to make a difference? What can we do? Too many people, speaking from the church world, too many people look at it from the money standpoint. Throw that out the window. It's going to come. If it's of God, it's going to come. And it's just fun to dream and do stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, if it was about money, you wouldn't be doing the homeless ministry.
No, we definitely wouldn't be. On a daily basis, we wouldn't be.
Yeah.
There's never enough money to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean that. For almost 17 years, there has never been enough money. And here we are. But you know that in ministry, that's just the way it is. There are some days, you go to Hebrews 11 and 12, and you look at the great men of faith, and I love when it talks about Abraham, Bob.
Yeah.
And it says that when Abraham was called to receive his inheritance, he got on the road and began to walk, even though he didn't know where he was going.
That's something.
Yeah, he trusted God, and he knew that God would get him there, and he knew that God called him. And Stacy's one of those guys, and yeah, you're right. I love being part of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things, one of those that it makes life exciting. It's,
yes.
I heard it put this way. I know we're going to go into the metal shop here. I heard it put this way. So, one pastor, he was talking to somebody in their congregation, and the person responded, "I'm waiting for the Lord to tell me to do this." And so he handed him the Bible and said, reread this. In other words, he's already told you to do it.
He already told you. That's right.
So
that's priceless. And that is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, should we go into the metal shop? We got Jonathan in the virtual green room.
He is the coolest guy. Here we go. See, I told you he was the coolest guy.
There you go.
There he is.
Back in black. He's got the black going on.
Yes, sir. And we got the Headbangers Brew poster back here representing the brand.
There you go, dude. He's awesome. Now, we ran into a little trouble, Jonathan. We had to raise the prices.
That's correct. Yes. Of course, as we know, the way things are happening economically, to put it euphemistically, we've had to raise the prices, and this is something that basically all coffee manufacturers, suppliers, and people are doing. So this is not kind of a unique situation. It is unfortunate it's not what we wanted to do, but really we've only raised it a few dollars, so it is still quite affordable, especially for a craft coffee.
Yeah.
So people, I think, even if you're used to kind of like the really, really cheap price, this will still be like a reasonable price. And of course, the same proceeds are going to help the homeless ministry.
Yes.
And,
awesome.
It's always a worthwhile investment.
Well, Jonathan, I was reading that, we have ships that are in both of our ports, Los Angeles and New York, and they're saying that a whole lot of that is coffee. So we're about to see a squeeze. I'm hoping we're going to be able to keep up, but this would be a good time to stock up on Headbangers Brew, wouldn't it?
It really would, yeah. Absolutely.
Do the brew. So I've been drinking out of our Headbangers Brew travel cup, and last week when we did our show, Bob, I ran out of coffee halfway through. So I have filled up my other sanctuary container. You can see there, 20 ounces, and I am ready now to pour. See, it's piping hot. It keeps things hot for a long time, and everybody needs one of these, don't they, Jonathan?
I think you need two. You have to have a backup. That's what what people don't realize is once you're done with one, you need to have another one full of your head.
Well, exactly.
Going,
and we do have a backup. We do have another design. So
that's correct. It is time for the unveiling, isn't it?
Well, it's over there, and I'd have to go find it.
Oh, okay.
But it's it's awesome. It has this picture on it. And speaking of cool things, one of our T-shirts.
See, there it is.
Very cool.
And that's the design that's on the other one. And this is a great T-shirt, Jonathan. I'm excited for people to go to the store and get that. And gosh, we got so many cool things in there.
That design would look very cool on the front fairing of a big black Harley.
Wouldn't it?
That's exactly where it's going to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're working on the motorcycle club stuff right now, actually. And
nice.
Matt, one of the sanctuary guys, actually went to Sturgis this year to check out, what it would take to do a sanctuary tent there. And and to kind of do some sanctuary patches and go after the motorcycle crowd. I'm excited for that, and this is actually intended for that use. So it's cool that you knew that. See, that's cool.
See, there you go. Yeah, and of course we have to give a little bit of praise to Hayden for that awesome design.
Oh my gosh,
he does such a great job, man. Everything is just a total banger, you know.
Yes.
Well,
I want to talk about something that Hayden's working on right now that is so cool. You know, right now, a whole lot of you that are listening are old. You've been around metal for a long time, and maybe you've been following Sanctuary for, decades. And some of you, your favorite music is still the stuff that came out of the 80s. And so we're about to put out a shirt. You know, the very first character that we ever did in Sanctuary was a guy we called Maynard Metal. And Maynard Metal had these huge wings, and he was glam, and he had this long hair, and he was playing a guitar. Do you remember that, Bob?
I do remember that. Yes. In fact, I think you still have the design hanging in your house there.
I do. The very original. So I asked Hayden to bring Maynard Metal up to date. And dude, it looks so cool. and it says something about I'm a fan of Christian 80s metal. And on the back of it, we have 30 band logos from the top bands in the 80s, the Christian metal bands in the 80s. So all of you that are watching that are old like me, you're going to love the shirt. And that'll be available soon.
Are you calling me old? Because I think I'd like that shirt.
I think you would too. I think you have a good variety of music that you like, don't you?
That's right. And you have to give credit to the early, your Stripers, your Barren Crosses.
Yes, absolutely.
So are you, is it like the band logos or just the names?
It's the band logos.
So the shirt is basically going to be like a t-shirt form of a battle jacket or battle vest then.
Absolutely. And it
pretty
could
cool.
Be that. I thought that would be cool in the first place, but it's just too expensive to make.
Right. No, it's going to be awesome.
With the t-shirt, I think it's going to be,
I've actually seen the design. I'm not going to let it out of the cat out of the bag, but it's very cool.
It is really cool. Yes. Well, Jonathan, you got a deal for us today.
That's correct. The promo code for 15% off everything in the Sanctuary Metal Shop is going to be Bobtober. You can see it there on the screen. That's a cool
feature. I like that.
Bobtober. I thought it was fitting. We're in October. It's the month of the Bob.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we used to say Rocktober, but Bob, I think this is even better.
I think it's got a nice ring to it. Kind of
partial. I think that's cool. Well, Jonathan, you are awesome.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
Did you notice?
Thank you.
Did you notice, Bob, how good he makes us look?
Yeah, he is the pink to our Floyd. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate
you, Jonathan.
You're awesome. Bye-bye. He's awesome.
So Bobtober, that's right up there with Bob Fest.
And who knew it was Bobtober already?
Right.
Man, how time flies. Well, we have an exciting segment coming up, Bob.
Yes.
And
but first, the song and dance.
Precious Death is a band that, came out of my church, actually. I think they met each other there. In California many years ago, did some great music.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Back. You know what's funny about Precious Death is back when I was a music buyer for 2 large Christian bookstores in Milwaukee, I remember stocking Precious Death, and I slapped their bumper sticker on the back of my car and rode to church with my car, and the church I was raised in, Assemblies of God. I caught so much garbage from a few of the deacons for having that bumper sticker, Precious Death, so that's one of my fondest memories about the band, let alone their awesome music and ministry. But it was hilarious.
Great guys. Well, we got Jerry and Chris with us.
All right, here we go.
Hey guys, so you probably noticed we're calling you legends. How does that feel?
Old.
So I was just thinking, you know, the band, how many years ago? 32 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Put the band together, was it? Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're actually a band from the 1990s, but pretty close. Pretty close to the
yes. Yeah. Well, these are two guys that I admire a lot. And Chris, you're not that far from me. You're in Memphis now, pastoring a church.
Yeah, we settled in Memphis 5 or 6 years ago. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Beautiful area down there. I got to visit that area a couple years ago.
It is great place. And Chris, I'm wondering how the people in your congregation are going to feel about the next Precious Death album, because I'm sure that the way you're singing in church with the hymns is a little different than what you're going to do on the album.
Well, it is. You know, church and music is a complicated thing. You were, of course, the ultimate expert on that, Pastor Bob. But you know, I pastor like a regular old normal Christian evangelical church. Most of them do not know about Precious Death. So, no, I'm just
I gotta ask, was that actually on your resume or whatever that you were?
Yeah, I put it right at the top.
There you go.
There was Precious Death singer.
Outstanding.
No, you know, I pastor a church in the South. Southern gospel is big down here. Black gospel is big down here. And then, you know, there's big, huge songs by the Christian-y rock bands. But heavy metal is still kind of in the South looked at like a little bit of well, I'm not sure that can be Christian. Well, you know, I'm sure it can. So I don't take a lot of flack for it. But at the same time, you know, we don't do it on Sunday morning. That's true.
Yeah. Like we used to at Sanctuary.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Did you guys, Jerry, I can't remember. Did you guys ever play special music for a Sanctuary service? It seems like you did.
No, we never got a chance to.
What?
Yeah. I don't know.
I remember the day, by the way, when we had, what band was it? One of the real extreme bands, Vengeance, I think it was. And we had to make a rule that there was no stage diving from the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think it was awesome. Tom Kohler that did some stage diving from the pulpit. So
that was Tom. Yeah.
You know, we've gone through our days. Jerry, you were with the original lineup with Precious Death, and you came from Indiana, I believe it was.
Yep.
With two other guys.
Yeah, Dave and Andy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And tell us how all of that started.
Dave and I used to jam together, and we were both went to school together, and so we knew each other for a long time. And then met Andy. I don't know, probably less than a year before we moved to California, and then we all decided we'd already decided to go to California, and the rest is history.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I remember the day you guys walked into the office. And you came with Andy's brother, Tom, who became our office manager for Sanctuary. Yeah. But I remember that first day when you guys walked in. And the rest is history. You guys did such great music and had such an impact on the Christian metal industry. Talk about the first album, how it came out. It seems like, if I remember correctly, it took forever to do. It was a long time coming. Chris, do you have some memories of those days?
Well, you know, people don't usually remember how big a part you were in that, Pastor Bob. And I had been working in the in the secular industry in Los Angeles, working with a lot of bands. I worked for the TV studios down there all through my teens. And I was playing shows at a place called the Rain Tree Bar and Grill in Torrance, California.
Wow.
And of course, my dad was a pastor in the Assemblies of God, Pastor Bob, and so that's where I was raised. But, being a pastor's kid and being able to see what church is really like from the inside out never did anything good for me, frankly. So I was playing in the bars and I came out and there was a guy named Christopher Keene. Anybody remember Christopher Keene?
Ah, wow.
And he was out there handing out flyers to Sanctuary and inviting us to say, and I was trying to avoid him, right? Because, I was like, okay, I know what this guy's about. And, awesome. But I kept going there pretty regularly. And I would just talk to Chris every week and he would invite me to church. And I kind of felt like God was on my back. It was very inconvenient timing. So one day I just showed up at Sanctuary. I was like, okay, I'm going to go, but I'm not going to like it. And I went once and I was like, I sat in the back with the mean look on my face. I was like, don't talk to me. And you preached a good gospel of Jesus Christ, of course, and started going regularly, eventually went to one of your Bible studies. And Chris had me in to talk with you once. And you talked to me about, that I just seem like a guy who's never going to really be satisfied until I'm doing my music for Jesus instead of for myself or for money or for glory. And you brought up a band. You listened to a little of my music. You said, I know this band that needs a singer. And you gave David Bishop, one of the guitarists, a copy of some of the music, and they heard it. And I went over and met with the guys. And from the first time we got together, the music was just chemistry. We were just on the same page.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. What's that?
It really was chemistry, wasn't it?
Yeah. So by 1990, we were already jamming in there. We went in and recorded the stinking demo, which wasn't really the first album, but it was a lot of fun. And in 92, and then we already started working on the Southpaw album that we finished in 93. Yeah.
Awesome. And of course, the rest is history, but there are tons of Precious Death fans all over the world. Many are listening right now or watching right now from other countries where you just kind of infiltrated the market, and this brand new band, Precious Death, that was doing a little bit different than all the other Christian bands. You guys kind of forged a niche in the music that everyone was listening to, and pretty soon people added Precious Death to their collection all over the world.
Yeah,
the rest is history, as they say. So that was then. This is now. And when Jerry told me, by the way, we're going to be doing a new Precious Death album, that was the last thing I thought I'd ever hear him say. That was very unexpected. And Chris, this was kind of a brainchild from you, wasn't it? Are you the one that initiated the idea?
Well, it's kind of weird. Precious Death never broke up. We hear all these stories. We know the guys from the old days. They always have this horrible breakup story. And we don't. We just got busy. We grew up. We got a little older, started getting married, started having kids, getting jobs and stuff like that. So it's weird. We kind of feel like we just had a 20-year break, and now we got to get back to business.
That's awesome.
But we still love the music. We always stayed in touch with the fans and all of that. We were never really... We were a little weird in that we were very counterculture. None of us ever made a living off the band. We always had real jobs and stuff like that. The band was for ministry and for the love of music. So in our music, we do all kinds of stuff in our metal. There's jazz in there, there's blues in there. That's one of the things the fans always loved, is we were very experimental and not boxed.
Yes, very.
Yep.
And we really did whatever we wanted at the time. Whatever we felt like the Spirit was leading us to do, that's what we would do. Would people get mad at us because there was a blues song in there? Maybe. It's just not metal enough, but we don't care. And
that's what made you unique, and it's what continues to make you unique.
I think it'll all be the same here on out. This is I think obviously from the writing, this will be the heaviest album we've ever done, which is a little weird at this point in the game.
Awesome.
We've been talking with Roger Sampson and Andy Kohler and David Bishop, and of course Jerry, and they're all in, and we're working on tunes, and it's going to be awesome.
That's exciting.
It's like the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band.
We're getting the band back together.
So Christopher Keene says,
"Hey,
hello here. He's online. Yeah, great, Chris. And you probably heard Chris talking about you." That's saying that you were the one that brought him to Sanctuary. That's awesome. Good to see you, Chris. Chris, by the way, is going to be doing a new podcast called The Sanctuarians. Awesome.
Yeah.
The Sanctuarians, and just kind of bringing together some of the old guys and
that's
just
really cool.
Chatting with people online like we're doing now. It'll be a lot of fun. So, so you guys are just getting started with the process. You're writing, you're figuring out what you're going to do.
We've got the outlines of all the songs done and have exchanged all of those. We always had this weird way of writing that the whole band writes the tunes, but usually the entire shell and skeleton is brought forward by somebody. So everybody's got songs now, and we're exchanging them all, and then everybody takes the songs and makes them their own and puts in their own talent and their own vision for that song, and it becomes Precious Death Song. And
awesome.
So we're pretty far along in the process. I don't know how long it'll be before we start actually recording stuff. Jerry, how long do you think it'll be before we actually get in a studio somewhere?
It's a good question. I don't know.
We've got lyrics and we've got tunes and we've got
where are you guys going to record? Like, where is the studio located?
Well, Jerry's brought up like doing pre-production out at his place and then going into a studio in Nashville. So we'll probably that's kind of central to all of us now. We're all right around the Nashville area.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, and we would love to have you come here and do it. I'd love to hang out with you guys at the studio.
Sure.
That would be just like the old days, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Record release party right there at
that'd be great. Yes. Well, you guys, thank you so much. And will you come back once you're at the point where the album is about to released, and let's chat about it again?
Absolutely. That would be awesome. Hey, since you have it up there anyway, we're going to do a thing this week at preciousdeath.com where 100% of anything bought on that website, 100% of the money goes to Sanctuary for the next 7 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, thank you so much.
That's
awesome. I appreciate that very much. And the homeless ministry could sure use it. So that is awesome. Thank you for that. And Jerry, I'll see you in a couple of days. I'll see you tomorrow, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Jerry lives in Florida and bringing his family up for a little visit.
Fantastic.
Anxious to see you guys. And Chris, you and I live close enough, so we got to get together.
Anytime, Bob. Anytime.
That'd be awesome. You guys, thank you so much. I love you both, and so good to see you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Good seeing you.
Right.
Take care.
Blessings. Bye-bye. Great guys.
Some great guys there. That's
really
exciting. It's almost like when Ozzy retired and then he did the Retirement Sucks tour, and so he went back out on the road again.
and dude, how many people? I remember in the mid '80s when the Rolling Stones announced that they were finished, and this was their last concert. Everybody's going, "Oh no, it's their last concert," and then the next one was the last concert, and then they just kind of stopped talking about it and kept going.
Yeah.
It's
in their
do
blood.
we have any questions?
Well, I posted that we're taking questions now, so we'll see if any roll in.
Yeah.
We got about 6 minutes to spend, and certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to post right here.
Bob, great show today, hasn't it?
I think it was fantastic.
Great guests, and every week we've got some really great people.
I love having Sean on and the other stores, the other distributors too, because we don't have the joy of mom and pop record shops anymore. And so it's hard to stay up on everything that's coming out. So that was a huge part.
It and Sean does a great job. I'm anxious to check in with him again. And we've got some other record owners from around the world that are going to join us and talk about, when metal kind of died in the United States for a while, it didn't die everywhere else.
No.
Metal has been going, and there's such great bands internationally.
Well, like Grave Decay.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think to raise the awareness of what's going on internationally in other countries would be great. And it was good to have Mouse here from Holland. But, I was just thinking when Rickard came on, we ought to have Pontecrator on. We ought to have, there's so many bands that I would love for our viewers to meet.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that just going back to the question thing is that we've always been taught as teachers and stuff, if you've explained it well enough, there won't be any questions. And
there we go.
Yeah. Well, actually one came in just now. How about that?
Okay.
I was gonna say, wow, we're 100%. Michael says, good morning, PBs. I'm into heavy stuff and thrash. Can you give me some Christian groups in these genres?
Well, the heavy stuff. And, thrash is kind of, I don't know a lot of people that are doing it these days.
No, I mean, there obviously there's Deliverance, Tourniquet, from the past years, and Tourniquet's still doing stuff, and Deliverance. And
there's there's some things I can't talk about, but there are some offerings coming soon from some of those old bands. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We will let you know, and we'll interview them as they go. But my recommendation, Michael, would be to go to our Spotify, and you can find it on our website. If you go to sanctuaryinternational.com, and it has a link to Spotify, or you can go here, wearemetalwearefamily.com, and just choose the genre, and it'll show you a whole bunch of bands that I know you love.
Yeah, it's fantastic resource. I've even used that for my Rock Church Radio to pull something from genres I don't even know about. And I was raised in Amy Grant and Carmen. I was No, my first metal album that I ever owned was the first Sacred Warrior album, and then from there. But yeah, go to this website and you'll find a lot of good things. So.
And by the way, we love Amy Grant and Carmen.
Yes. Yeah.
And I worked with Carmen years ago. Now, here's a little trivia, Bob, for you. You've met my brother, Tim.
Yes.
He used to manage Carmen.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
In the day.
It was truly sad to hear of his passing. I mean, he was the showman for, he opened the door for a lot of what Christian music's doing today, video wise and everything.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, absolutely. And he was a great guy. I used to do this talk on music.
Yeah.
And the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Carmen came on right before I spoke, and he did this parody. He would take old songs and redo the lyrics. And it was just such a fun thing. We had such a great time.
Oh, yeah.
In those days. And then I remember being at one of those Christian nights at Knott's Berry Farm. And there was this girl that was sitting in this just obscure place. And I was with Keith Green at the Cloud9 Ballroom, which was not very far away. And he was going to play a little while. And so I decided to take a little walk. And I listened to this young girl that was just playing by herself. And she did this song called Father's Eyes. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was my first time I got to listen to Amy Grant. And it wasn't all that long after that she came out with the first album. And, these things are so important for our music as well, because they set a stage for building.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For building the kingdom. And that's what we're all doing together.
I heard a female comedian years ago, and she goes, I'm going to sing a song for you. It's a famous song, but I really don't have my father's eyes, so I'm going to sing the song I got my father's thighs.
That's awesome.
It was so funny. One of the funniest things I've heard.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Well, we got a great show for next week. We'll get the promo work out there, and
as always, folks, thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
And thank you for being part of this. And as Bob said before, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, people you'd like to see on the show, just let us know. And Bob, if you could put one more time the URL or the place where they can write to us, our email address.
Yes, there you go.
And
email us PBs at sanctuaryinternational.com.
Well, we are 2 PBs.
And a microphone.
And the microphone, and we've had a great time. And we'll look forward to next week. Don't miss our next one every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Time. We'll be back.